Hello, a very good morning to you all. My name is Daddy Chris, and this is Rise and Shine. Rise up and shine, Nigeria. It is your time to shine in Nigeria. It is time for Nigeria to rise and shine. It is important for Nigeria to rise and shine because Nigeria is the biggest, the largest black nation on earth. Meaning, if Nigeria failed, the black race has failed. And I want to pass this information to them today that if you fail, those of you in the National Assembly, those of you in the Senate, the Nigerian presidency, our governor, local government, whoever is handling any office in Nigeria, we need your leadership because if you fail to lead Nigeria to the place we belong, meaning the black race around the world is a failure. And that is something you shouldn't take lightly. So we're not talk beyond the borders of the Nigerian state on this show. That's why, of course, I'm here in London, and of course, in Nigeria, we have all of them talking about it. So I always try to bring my international experience into the show, but I expect better contribution from you guys, and you guys are doing it. Well, as you know, this money is loaded. And I said we're going to do a little bit of talk on what is democracy. You know, Nigerians, we always say the dividend of democracy, the dividend of democracy. That is language I don't understand. You understand? I don't even understand it. When they say dividend of democracy, I don't understand it. So maybe they need to educate me on what is dividend of democracy. So, and that is the thing. But what I found out is there is actually no democracy in Nigeria. And I don't know whether periodic election is democracy for you. So when you conduct election at the end of 4 years in office, you practice democracy. And so democracy, I like the King of Jordan. He said democracy will be different to different people. And maybe today we're going to explore what democracy means for Nigeria. That would be before our guests in Lagos will join us and we'll be taking a look at other things. But quickly, let's jump on it. I have Mary in Abuja. You know, and Mary, we're giving her to Wike to do whatever he wants. We can marry her. Mary,
Good morning, Daddy Chris.
how is Wike handling you, daughter?
He's handling us well, by fire, by force.
Wike is the man of the day. Wike is not giving the democracy of democracy. He's giving the dividend of democracy. Let's put it that way. He's the one delivering the dividend of democracy by constructing roads. In fact, I hear very dark man came out and said Wike has constructed the roads that were not constructed before. So,
Yes, that's in Kuje.
eh?
Yeah, that's in Kuje part of Abuja. There
Yes,
were bad roads. You know,
yes,
that time we went out for a Vox Pop, where those people came out and they were complaining. Those
yes.
Kuje residents, they came to the FCT here complaining about how the road has been leading to accidents.
Mm.
So we can commission the road and they have been fixing the road, making the place to look beautiful. Yeah. So I think very
So,
dark man came out to still talk about it.
so we can clap for Wike for constructing roads, and I like that. Yeah, that is the dividends of democracy, and I'm sure Asaba will tell us the same thing. Asaba, I'm going to add you guys now. Let's hear from Asaba because it's like Oboriwoli is delivering the dividends of democracy in Asaba. Is that correct, sir? And so, what are the things? Very told us the new constructions of roads in at the FCT. What is happening in Asaba, in Delta? Well, there seem to be network issue.
Well, I think
Go on, sir.
the projects are coming up. Yeah, the projects are coming up,
Yes.
and the system appears to be working. So there's some level of stability. But
So there's dividends of
democracy goes
democracy, in other
beyond
words.
road construction and bridge
Yes. Yeah, bridges and road
goes
construction.
beyond road construction and bridge building. Yes,
And that
beyond
brings
the construction of
democracy.
roads and
Yeah.
building of bridges,
Yes.
democracy is a culture, it's a
Yes.
process, and it has to do with the involvement of the people. Some of us in Delta, particularly Asaba, we are worried that the people are still have not yet been factored into our sense and our definition of democracy. And I begin to wonder, what is democracy when it's devoid of the people? In this part of the country, it's possible for somebody to emerge a local government chairman, and that's very critical because that is the basis, that's the foundation, that's the grassroots. It's somebody to emerge the local government chairman. not by the people voting for him, but by somebody somewhere penciling down his name. So at the end
Mhm.
of the day, his loyalty is more towards the person who sponsored him rather than the people. I think, democratically speaking, this is still very faulty. So for
Yes.
the 3 years he's there, the chances are that he will do everything to appease the fellow who nominated him, and try to see how it's about it. It's like an investment. Somebody invested some money to ensure
Yes.
that you emerge as local government chairman. So you do everything to ensure that there is a return on investment,
Of
and
course.
whatever that the implication that is on the people is still at variance with our understanding of the true principles of democracy. Because the
Exactly.
people are still asking, is
Yes.
this really democracy? Because the will of the people seem to not to have been factored in. And it's a worrisome development. It's a worrisome development. If we can try to cite example from what is happening in Rivers State, one man in Abuja is able to do what he's doing because he
Yes.
believed that he was the one who single-handedly picked and made somebody a governor. That it wasn't the people. It's now
Yes.
that the people are being called upon to say, oh, it's democratically sacrilegious and all that. But people have also asked the question, how did he emerge in the primaries?
Yes.
How did he emerge at the election? If he is truly the carrier of the sacred mandate of the people, then
Yes.
why is there this overwhelming influence of one person? So, talking about democracy, we are talking about the people, the will of the people, being overwhelmingly profound in all decisions, in line with the rule of law. That's talking about strong people, strong institutions, and strong system and government,
Yes.
rather than strong people. But
Strong
what we
man.
are having now is we
Strong
are
man.
having strong men. Thank you. You just corrected.
It's what we
Strong
call
men.
calistocracy. In calistocracy, Nigerian
There's a
president,
strong man in Abuja.
Nigerian
There
president
is a
never
strong
speaks.
man. So we have pockets of. So we have a system where strong men can gather somewhere, possibly in Hilton, Abuja, and decide on the future of the nation. And we call that
Yes.
democracy, just because the people wearing uniform are back to the barracks. But my people in the grassroots still want to know, how did their councillor emerge? How did their chairman emerge? And it's antithetical, a bit of a paradox, that we expect democracy in Abuja, whereas there is no democracy at the council, the ward, the local government level. How would you expect a 5-6 story building? You expect the structure up there to be sustained when the foundation is faulty?
It's
Until
broken.
we are able to fix the foundation, until we are able to fix the foundation of our democracy, which is at the grassroots, the ward level, until I am part of the process of the emergence of my councillor, and through that, the emergence of my chairman,
Yes.
and we have that at that foundation, then it will be wrong for us to be expecting that there will be democracy in Abuja. Because once, if the foundation is destroyed, even the scriptures ask, what will the righteous do? The foundation of our democracy is still very faulty, and it's a worrisome development. Thank you.
It is worrisome. It is
Yes,
worrisome. It cannot be put better.
yes.
It is worrisome.
Very, 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 very worrisome.
Yes, and when they tell me, so what I really like to hear, and we're going to explore it from little angles. Sometimes, the language is very common in Nigeria. The dividend of democracy. That's the dividend of democracy brought to the people. So, and I'm wondering, what is this democracy they are talking about? Because democracy doesn't, I don't understand what it means. Even when that's what I wanted to ask our guests and you maybe one simple thing. When you hear the word democracy, what does it mean? What immediately comes to your mind? Because I think this is the foundation. We need to even ask ourselves that question before we begin to address it. Because if you don't know what you call it, are you telling me you're giving me the dividend of democracy, or we are in democracy, then we're confused. Don't forget that the definition of democracy we are using today is the one made by one man in America who said democracy is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. but that will still be a definition
people.
of democracy. That cannot be the total. You understand? But I don't understand where the word democracy even comes about. So a system of rulership where, if I, you see, it's
I
time
would
to.
just say democracy and rule of law should work hand in hand because there can be no, or there will be no democracy, right? If there's no rule
Yes.
of law.
Well,
Because
I want to keep that first, Mary. Yes, you are right. Without rule of law, there's democracy in Nigeria because you know
some people are
the,
above the law. I quite understand. But the
true.
truth is, if you can't say there's democracy in Nigeria, because with what we are seeing presently, we can't boldly say we are practicing democracy because we are not. If we want to
So,
go
but
back to
you are
democracy,
enjoying the dividend of democracy. We can just give you dividends of democracy. Eh?
that's not democracy. He's showing us that he's above the law. Yes, the fact that he's maybe doing what he needs to do in the FCT is
Yes.
still for his own good. It's just like when you are working in a place, you want to put in
Yes.
your bed,
That is
right?
your job. In
So
fact,
if
even
he's doing his job, he's
this
not
is
favoring
job.
anybody. He's not using his money to do it. It's still the money
No,
of the
it's
people,
our
right?
money.
So
In fact, that
yes,
is the thing I want
I
you
can't
guys to
applaud him for
understand.
that.
You know, say, you
He
begin to
just
praise a
yes.
man
Other
for
ministers
doing
have
his job.
come.
What is
He
he
will
supposed to
definitely want
do?
to show what he has done as a minister because there have been other ministers. So he wants to show his own work as well. So this is just him trying to put in his best because he knows he will not be there forever. Even if they emerge the winner again in 2027, it doesn't mean that they will be there forever. That's another thing. So I can't really say I should be proud of him for working in FCT. What about the other part, the other crisis is causing in a state where he's not even residing presently? So if you say we want to practice democracy, I'll probably say we are not. I don't think we are practicing democracy. And if we continue like this, there'll be problem that increase. I know what I'm saying. There'll
And
be big problem.
I like what is going on in the papers today. We're going to look at it very. I think INEC is trying to stamp a foot on the ground. Even if we address democracy from the way we elect our leaders, which would have been the most interesting part of democracy. Democracy is a way where the people vote their leaders. The question I ask, I wish we have our guests in our midst. Do we actually vote our leaders in office? Is it our vote that brought them to office? That
That
is
is
number one. I want us to address issues small, one by
that
one today, maybe.
that is what it was supposed to be, but that's not how it is. That
Uh-huh.
increase, if you even get maybe you get in a small position right now, maybe let me just say the least national assembly, you bring all your people, you bring everybody in Urubu and put them, you make one person secretary, make one person your age, make one person
Really?
special assistant. That is just the truth. So we don't really vote people, we put people out of, let me say this person is my tribe, out of favoritism. That is what we do. I wish we vote people based on you merit this position. It would have been a different thing entirely.
Okay, Mary, let's follow. Let's address this issue one by one. Democracy. Let's assume that democracy is the way we elect our leaders to office. I'm happy Asaba is back now.
Yes.
Okay, the people we have in Nigerian offices today, did we vote them in?
We did
Are
not.
they there with our vote?
No.
Okay, because and I want Asaba to answer
Were
me
they
because
electors?
if you buy a vote, is that still a vote?
No.
So
I think fundamentally,
yes,
democracy is a system, it's a culture, and it goes beyond election. But election is fundamental. But most
yes,
of our elections, right from independence, have been very flawed. The results are predetermined, and the position of the parties and the emergence of the flag bearers of the parties is also highly prejudiced and very, very questionable.
Questionable. Yeah.
And the fear is that this is getting worsened because the
yes,
economy is also getting messier. When the economy is getting messier, if people ask what is democracy to me when I do not have a loaf of bread to eat and be alive, and so you see a situation
yeah,
where people are easily purchasable, vote buying, and
yes,
vote selling,
yes.
because there is a critical survival issue by
Yes,
those who are
agreed.
expected to make, so they can't make quality decision. They cannot make quality decision. I have insisted that democracy is a process, is a culture. It's beyond the provision of infrastructure. In as much as we understand that that is critical, because we are talking of dividends of democracy. But let us also not forget that the The military, they were building bridges.
Yes.
The
In
military,
fact,
they were constructing
the yes, the terminal bridge was built by Babangida under the military regime. It wasn't democracy. Is that the evidence of democracy?
Yes. Yes.
Because when you guys tell me that I built a bridge, so that's the dividend of democracy, I'm confused.
No, that is not so. That is not so.
Mm.
That's not so. Our sister in Abuja said something critical, that it's about the rule of law and democracy must go pari passu. They must go together. We now have a democracy that has sacrificed the rule of law. You know, we have what appears to be a democracy, but the rule of law has failed. And that is why critical stakeholders are saying, including former President Obasanjo, that democracy is failing in Africa and Nigeria is leading the way. Let's check the neighboring countries and see how people are joyfully welcoming military intervention and all that. It's not as if we are expressly saying that, but when we place it side by side, we begin to ask ourselves, is this democracy working? Is it providing food on the table?
The first question is this even democracy? Is this even, first, we have to define it. You see, Fela was talking about demonstration of grace. That's how he defined it. He says demonstration. Because if a teacher teaches something and the student make mistake, teacher must say so. But the West didn't tell us. They are not correcting us. Now, he said, now let's take it. In England, we practice the parliamentary system of government. Understand? In America, they have the presidential system of government, which one Nigeria has come. They are both practicing democracy. Meaning democracy is not the system of government. It's the fundamental of democracy is that there will be rule of law. Now, and meaning the way they vote American president in will be free and fair. The way they vote people here in England is free and fair. My question is, do we even vote our leaders in, or they buy the votes? Because sometimes we talk of a military coup, but there could be civilian coup. Maybe we should define it. There's something we should be calling civilian coup, because by the time you buy the vote, or you intimidate us, or you force us into office, it's a coup. Is that democracy? Who vote? The question is,
let me see.
Who vote you into office? See, sometimes we ask these difficult questions, and it's nothing we want to answer. By the time you get rid of people. By the time my vote did not count, and you got yourself into office, you've already defeated the essence of democracy. Nigeria today, INEC is the basis, is the foundation. They should be the umpire. Then they blow whistle. But unfortunately, without an umpire, what can you do? Because the drama of this Nigerian democracy is so built on that simple thing: who voted you into office? Because this is the power. You said something about the foundation, but actually the foundation is the people. When you take the power from us, then you account to us. But if you take the power from Benjamin, it's Benjamin you're going to account to. It's simple. Because Benjamin put you there. Look at what Wike is doing now. I put him there. He must listen to me.
Saying it openly in a country. And not
you understand? But we don't. The man is saying, hey, I didn't take power from you. I take power from the people. I want to be accountable to the people. And that is the first thing. Tinubu does not care. He knows he's going to win the next election. Because he's going to buy it. Or if you don't vote for him,
the way it is in Nigeria, democracy cannot be the same everywhere. When we started in 1999, they said it was referred to as nascent democracy, evolving, and it has been evolving since then. And the system has taken into consideration the nature of Nigerians. They know that our elections have never been free and fair, very flawed all the time. That is why they say, if after the elections there's any disagreement, or if any person is aggrieved, go to court. From the tribunal, you go to the appeal court, and possibly end up at the Supreme Court, where 7 people will sit down and decide the fate of millions of people. See, the democracy in Nigeria is so flawed because the people are docile. Look at what is happening in other parts of the world. When people come out to say no, they come out in millions. You see them.
Yes, Ali.
But look at, instead of what has happened in Rivers State, how many people have you seen on the street demonstrating against
Agree.
or protesting against
They shoot at
what
them.
is going
They
on?
shoot at them. No, we are
So
under case. If they come out now, there will be military. You see the military presence. They're ready to shoot at these people.
They were even
These heartless people will shoot at them.
they
These
came out
people
and they
that
were
came
crying
out in
as well.
2020, they were shot at. Young people, they say we end SARS. Gun. In fact, a heartless government put gun on these children. So if they come out now, Benjamin, what are they going to expect?
yes.
See, Benjamin, you know what? You know one thing I want
Yes.
us to look at. In those days, before the white people came and teach us democracy, our society were governed by kings. And to some extent, when the king speak, the law is obeyed. We had a more orderly society than now because people were obeying the law. Today, the law is alien to us. Obeying the law is alien because maybe we need time to understand this new democracy because the topic is very important. What does this democracy lead us? What do you even understand by it? Is it the man that forced himself into power? Is that who we call democracy? On one of the headlines today, Atiku is saying he doesn't know whether we'll run again in 2027. You see this set of people, these old men.
Mm-hmm.
They told you in those days, like the engineer told us yesterday that Buhari came that time and told them you are the future, you are the leader of tomorrow. Today, he's already an old man. Buhari is still president. What did the people Buhari and Tinubu? These are expired old men. In fact, there's something called retirement. At a particular age, you are supposed to retire. What politicians are not supposed to retire? When will they retire? No, because sometimes we talk of serving after civil service. Listen, government office is civil service. A president is a civil servant. So if you have a particular age, you are no more qualified to run for the office of the president. Can we put that in our constitution first? So that we can know that the young people will take over. If we don't, the old ideas, analog president is all we're going to get. This is not time of digital democracy. This is AI democracy. Benjamin, they are sending things when we were in school. All these things didn't exist. When I was doing my project in school, now typewriter, I take type. That's what we use. Are you going to compare that to children of today?
No way.
Because anything now, they don't ask AI. I think a lecturer will be in trouble today to actually compete with children in class because as they talk, then they check AI. What is AI talk? How can a lecturer of that time even cope with now? And yet you bring an old man of those days to come and run today, Nigeria. What does he know? What, in fact, if they say, no, we are living we're living in the past. In the past, because, and the shameful thing is, we have the way of preaching this big English democracy, and there is no culture of rule of law. Because if there's rule of law, the INEC election, they don't even need to worry. And in England, when we're conducting the election, you will know the day of election, people will go there, vote, and go to their work. You wouldn't even know that today is election day. There's no break. The same day voting is taking place, everybody's at work. You go there, sometimes you vote through the post. The election is seamless, it's free and fair. There's no desperation. I won't even know. Sometimes I forget to vote. I say, I didn't vote. That's why now what happened is I vote on time. They will send your envelope. They will ask you how do you want to vote. If it's by post, your letter, your vote card will be with you. You just take it and you put it on the self-post envelope to them. And a leader will come and you know this is the man you voted for. And if you lost, you will accept. But is it what we see now? You saw what happened in Edo State. Come on, man. Are we practicing democracy, people? Is this democracy? Our system of government, which is our kings, is it not better than this one?
Yeah.
Our kings in those days.
I think what comes out from your what comes out from your analysis is that yes, democracy is a universal concept, but its application, how it works out from nation to nation, is culture bound. Then you begin to ask yourself, what are the cultural indices in Nigeria that define our own democracy? And I listen to you with a whole lot of interest. Desperation is one of them. Why are people desperate?
Sorry, communicator. Let me quickly add Lagos. Let me add Lagos to the platform. They want to Lagos. You're welcome to the show because I want you to follow this beautiful analysis. All right.
Good morning, Dr. Chris.
Welcome to morning. And we have a guest with you there. Could you tell us?
Yes.
We are familiar with our already. Who do we have?
Okay, so let's welcome Mr. Idowu Babalola Thomas.
Okay.
He is an entrepreneur and is also a politician. We have a politician in our midst and a community leader.
All right. So we are in safe hand to address the issue of democracy. Now, communicator is teaching us. I call him a communicator because he's a renowned journalist from Asaba. He's just analyzing my take. I put up something and he was trying to put it in context. So we're going to go back to Asaba now. Asaba, please tell us so that before we hear from Lagos on this.
Well, we had taken a cue from what you said, that democracy is a universal concept. And people have said it's about the best government that humans have practiced, except for the ones that have not been tried. Oh, yes. And tracing back to this the city in Athens. But today, we can't practice it the way it was practiced in Athens, where everybody have to come out and say, oh, this is the way. So we have representative democracy here in Nigeria. But we are confronted with a situation where it is culture bound. So now, what are the cultural indicators? What are the cultural manifestations that are hindering our practice of democracy? That when it's benchmarked with what is happening at the global level, people begin to ask, is this truly democracy? And you mentioned it in your analysis. One, desperation. People are desperate to get into the position because it's as if every other sector, permit me if I call democracy like a sector here. It's as if every other sector seems to have failed. Every sector seems to have failed. You know, for you to run a factory and produce things, you battle with the provision of infrastructure and all that, But when you get into a public office, there's a cheap money there, easy money, and with aids and all that. So the desperation is like a do or die. We see elections as do or die. The election in UK that you described, the people feel, if I am elected, I have something to offer.
I'm going there to work.
Society forward.
It's a job.
But here it's about I am desperate to end the vicious cycle of poverty as far as it concerns my lineage. So that should I get in there and serve, 2-3 generations after me will never again be poor. And so with that mindset, I get in there. Of course, people will count me stupid if I do not loot. People will count me stupid if I come out of office and I cannot point at people and remain poor. How can you serve in an office and you are out
and you come back poor?
And you do not, quote and unquote, empower your people. And how this empowerment is made is a story, it's a story that if we get into the details of it. So desperation, and with desperation, elections cannot be free, they cannot be fair. Don't forget our military background. And up until now, the military, the security, they are still made to be part and parcel of our electoral process. And they come in there. And by the time the strong men have agreed on where it should be going, like the military did agree that it was to be Obasanjo, they were to hand over to Obasanjo. So the election was more like a formality.
Yes.
You know, Obasanjo had agreed that he was to hand over to Yaradua and Jonathan. You know,
yes.
And so what we came out to do on that fateful Saturday was just to affirm a decision that had already been taken. You know, and so I tell you that even 2027 election that is that we are building up to. But that is also how not the Nigerians will come to decide, but the stakeholders, as it were, the strong men would agree. This is how
they've decided.
And the billions pop into the operation of INEC. The billions pop into the operation of INEC. It's just to validate a process that they had already concluded. And so you can sit back, and that's why there's political apathy. Yes, some persons will say, why am I going out there? The freest, the fairest election that Nigeria ever conducted, as umpired by INEC under Alfred Rosewood. You know, a former military president was just telling us, oh, it was the freest, it was the fairest. You know,
yes. But you are not
brought into it, but it was annulled. It was annulled. And so we have never had a historic opportunity of reinventing that in a free and fair process. And so what we have been having has been a situation where Ben endorses me, you know, I go and talk with him, you know, and he endorses me. And if I can as well go to sleep, if he's the political leader of my area. Because at the end of the day, what the people come out to do is just to come and affirm a process of endorsement of a strong man in my area. Yes. So we have a gang of strong men that have held the destiny of this country, you know, at the jugular, and it is unfortunately so. And because the people are impoverished, you know, they are not in a position to come out. And when they did come out, when the youth did come out in NSAS, we all know how it ended. And that is why we see that democracy is not just failing. It's in a critical crossroad.
Okay, now I want to go this to Lagos. Lagos. Now, you heard what he has said. The truth is, let's take it from the very, very basis of it. Democracy is how we elect people to office. And they have to be the choice of the people. I want to draw your mind back to the past. Before the white people came, we had the kings. It is the will of the people. It's the people that choose this the person who want to be our king. Though they don't vote, but it is the collective voice of the people that will elect a king. And the king will serve. Sometimes it's hereditary, it becomes a culture, like a journalist just said here. Yet they said that is not democracy. Today we are in a democratic system where one man can buy all the votes, or somebody that is being endorsed by the military becomes the president. And we are in a democracy. I want us to see whether we Africans are practicing democracy, or maybe we don't understand it, or why is our own being bastardized. And today the one they gave to us is the new democracy. And I get lost here. Maybe Lagos can tell us a little bit as a community leader and as an expert in leadership.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, our viewers from wherever you are watching us.
Morning.
And good morning, the moderator and other viewers. It's a very interesting topic. I'm sure this discussion is something we have had at different forum many times, time and time again. But having listened to the last speaker, with the moderator, first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. I'm Ido Babalola Thomas. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a community leader. I'm a professional and a politician as well. Now, I try to tell people that see me for the first time, I'm a professional in politics. It's different when you see people calling themselves a professional politician.
Yes.
And if you see a politician that does not have a second address, then that is
I like that.
and then that
The
is
second address, yes. Let's
yeah,
go.
and then that is a danger. It's
Yes.
going to be a danger to the community. It's going to be a danger to the state and the nation at large. But sadly, we have a lot of them in politics today. But I want to say this: most of the blame lies with us. When I say us, the elites. I won't introduce myself. I fall into that category perfectly. I'm an oil and gas person, I'm a maritime person, and I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a baker, I'm a farmer, and I'm a community leader. So I think I can speak sufficiently to the core issues at hand. So people that speak like us, you and I, that look like us, we have taken the back seat for too long, far too long.
Thank you.
And we are and we are paying dearly for it. We are paying dearly for it. How do I mean? You see, let's take it from this simple. This is my coinage. I tell people, every aspect of our life is governed by a piece of legislation, from cradle to grave. You have a child, yeah, you give the child a name, but that name is not legal. It's not legal until and unless there's a stamp of government. If you
Exactly.
compass, God has blessed you, you bought a car, that car is not roadworthy with your money until you get the necessary documentation. You bought a land. I can go on and on.
Yes.
I can go on and on.
Yes.
So what does that tell us? It tells us that as long as we keep away from what is important after God, don't let's kid ourselves.
Thank
After
you.
God is government. After God is government.
Next to God is government. That's what they say. Next to God.
Don't let's kid ourselves. We can be in the studio for now till the kingdom come. We can sit in our comfort zone. We can postulate until and unless we get our skin into the game. How do I mean? If I want to ask us a question, a brutal question,
Yes.
do we even know the ward we belong to, even if you are not a politician?
Yes.
Let's start from the ward. If you ask the question now, do we even know the ward we belong to? Probably you are in Edo State, you are in Orion or local government. If they ask us, which ward do you belong to? You'll be shocked. A lot of us.
Don't
A
know.
lot of us kids, we don't even know. We don't even know where these parties are having their ward meetings. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody should be a politician. But what is lacking? What is lacking is that there is no proper participation. There is no civic engagement. And so there's a disconnect between us that can offer valuable service, quality service, and the critical mass of the people. And you see, nature too does not allow vacuum. If you feel you know, if you think you know, you have what it takes, you can give to the community. Get into the game. But most of us, we sit back and we allow the third 11 to take the front seat.
I like that. I like that.
See, I want to tell you this. Some of us are well-traveled. In the US, in the Western world, they are so smart. The best of brains, they are first class. They get into public service, foreign service, they get into public service. Now, the people that are in business abroad, they are the people that probably didn't drop out of school, didn't finish well, maybe third class. And they are, you see, there's a space for them.
For them.
Now, when even the politicians abroad, check their profile. They are well read. Some of them Yale, Harvard.
True.
So what am I saying here? Let's bring it back home. Malpractices will continue to happen in democracy in our election. And I'll tell us this. Until we get, I tell my folks, I said, if we get ourselves into the business and we go in there in our numbers, we will surely outnumber them.
True.
I'm using myself as an example.
Yes.
Where I live, I'm a community leader, like I said. I provided in my own little way some service in community, water, I facilitated street lights. And what I realize is this. You will, when you are doing this, people like us will look at me as, what's this guy doing? Just wasting his time. This guy's just wasting his time. And it goes on and on. And I know the amount of backlash. I know the amount of a kind of body language, body hitting I get from these so-called professional politicians. But I'm undeterred. I stayed my course, and you know what? They become familiar with me. They've accepted that Mr. Thomas is here to stay. Grudgingly though, but with time, they've accepted the fact. And if we have the likes of me here and there, some sparks here and there, sparks here and there, when you bring the sparks together, it gives the glow.
Yes.
That will give direction. You see, there is nothing we can do if we continue to sit back. And there's nothing we can do to stop what we call all these malpractices. Even in the United States, let me tell you the fact. In politics, democracy anywhere in the world is first about selection. You see, what we do on election day, we are just going there to endorse the selected few by the establishment. Let's look at the United States. Don't let us go too far. This last election, when the leaders of the party, they went to Biden because they ran a very bad interview. They went to him, it was a coup, let me put it that way. And right there, they endorsed Kamala Harris. Yes. By so doing, they have kept potential candidates. They've kept them away. That's why they could not do all their normal Super Tuesday when you start from Iowa to all those. They couldn't start. So that alone itself is an anti-democratic move. But let's save that till another day. Let's come back home to our community. Guys, we will continue to have what we are having until and unless people like you and I, people that have second address, get into the game. Because this is a serious business. It is a serious business. If you fail to do it, we're going to pay dearly for it. And the longer we delay, the more we pay for it. Let me just rest there.
Yes, I love the word. For evil to exist, righteous men are busy doing nothing. That's why I put it there. It's a big word. And I remember our former foreign minister, Jack Straw, he used that word. They wanted to go and kill Saddam Hussein. And they were convincing us how they're going to go and kill the man, the evil. Say for evil to exist, they are the righteous men who didn't do nothing. So they did something. Anyway, that is by the way. But anyway, I take it to our context from what you just said. For evil to exist, righteous men are busy doing nothing. Who are the righteous men in Nigeria? Not the youth. The youth are trying. The elite. The elite are the problem. Sometimes I say, where are the past leaders? Can they make a statement? A statement will go a long way. We need leadership. And the leadership is not coming from the people in office. And truly, people in office will always, a politician, his first job is to win election. Because without winning the election, he's not going to be able to act. So he will do anything possible to win the election. It is our duty to stop him. The ordinary people are handicapped, they are poor. Journalists was able to analyze how they were impoverished us, so that all we now see is give us 5,000 will vote. But it is the elite that can change it. There is no community that doesn't have enough elites to change things.
Sure.
Any community you go, you see educated people who are not hungry. They can talk to them people and say, this we're doing. They can the importance of it. I love what you said. Thank you, sir. Whether you like it or not, down to you, even when you die, the government is on your case. Yes. When you are born, it's on your case. Anything you do, the clothes you wear, the air you breathe, the international passport you are carrying belongs to the government. And you say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I call you an educated illiterate. A political illiterate is better. It's a more dangerous person to society than educated ones. Mm-hmm. Some of them are educated, but they are still illiterate. We call them political illiterate, and that's a danger to society. And you can't blame my poor mother. What about in gone are the days where people didn't go to school? We have elites like him. Look at the able men I have. You know what is confusing me? Sometimes I wonder, how can these people be taking a piece when we have able men like us? Mm-hmm. So that's the question we should ask ourselves today as we move on. So maybe we will challenge ourselves and begin to go into community work. And if we don't, we're going to get into trouble. But let's move on to the other aspect of this democracy, which is very interesting. When they tell us the rule of law, how do we stamp that into the process? Because now the elite, even if you're not convincing our people to vote, how they vote is one. But no matter what these people do, no matter what they do, the class, the people in power, they've abused the law. They don't stick to they don't follow the law. INEC will not follow the law. The presidency will not follow the law. Look at what is going on today. A society without rule of law, how can there be, even no matter how can this elite make an impact? Because no matter what you and I do, we need a law that will be binding on everybody. But in Nigeria, the law is for some people. It's not for every one of us. How do we address that? We can go back to Asaba. How do we address this issue of, okay, I like to talk like a layman. You know, if we're going to do election, the police, you send the police there. The police are even on the street counting. They are making sure people vote. They're in queue. Before it gets to INEC office, they change the result. And you see all these things, they say go to court. Today, our court does not exist. I don't understand. So how do we? So this is critical because we do know that if the leaders they know that they are directly accountable to us. They will work for us. This is the danger. And I want you to add this to your submission. If a leader knows that the people voted me in, I will be thinking of how I'm going to please them so they vote me again. But if Tinubu bring me in, I will be loyal to Tinubu so Tinubu will bring me back.
That's true.
So it is important that our leaders see, they know that we are the one that brings them into power. But by the time we try to bring them to power, in between our vote and when it gets to counting, they've truncated it. How do we address that?
Is it to everybody?
Yes.
Let me thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Well, like you have observed, our voting pattern has been flawed over time. And the 1993 election that has been acclaimed the freest election in Nigeria, it was because of the option A4 that was adopted. What is option A4? You queue behind the person you want to vote for, and somebody will count. Everybody will hear the final figure. In that case, there will be no room for you to change anything between the polling units and collation center. Maybe we should think along that line and go back to option A4. Whether there be any change in our elections.
But that is a good one.
Okay, I think
now they see announced result at the polling booth though. Don't they announce result at the polling booth? Then the result at the polling booth sometimes is different from the one in INEC.
That's true.
So what do we do? Even if it's up to A4, if they tell you by the time you get there, it has changed. I'm gonna kill them. Maybe the culture. Journalists told us that it's a culture. Maybe we need a culture. How do we get this culture? I blame the elite one. But how do we even get the culture that it is important that the most important thing for us is for our vote to count. Because once the vote begins to count,
Yes.
it's going to influence a lot of things. A politician will be pleasing us because he wants to make us happy, so we'll vote for him again. If it's not accountable to us, if you know your vote does not count, if you are not the one that's going to make him win the next election, why does he care?
There is danger because we have jettisoned the rule of law, and we appear to have voted for the culture of impunity. The culture of impunity is where somebody would, go contrary to the provisions of the law and beat up people, burn ballot boxes, carry it in a desperate manner and tell you to let us see in court. Go to court. Knowing that go to court is not saying go to the law. Go to court. Knowing that the court, and the question is whose court? The court have been to be in favor of a particular side. So go to court is not telling you go for justice, because when you go to court, what you are going to get is an endorsement of what he has already done. So it is dangerous when certain persons have so accumulated what ought to be a commonwealth, and it has become individual resources, so much so that they can buy over, arms of government. But does it not cause a wonder to you that a governor of a state has 3 or so members of the House of Assembly with him, and a former governor has with him 27 over 3, and the question is that, and he has been paying them. He has been giving them petrol. They are voting. They are voted for where their mouth is, and for them, the incumbent doesn't have enough to oil. It's not about, we talk about unprincipled bandits, political bandits. So you see a situation where any system that has allowed an individual to have accumulated so much money that are not giving out anymore in cartons but in bullion vans, it's a very dangerous system, and you cannot have rule of law under that, because rule of law talks about equality between you and me.
Can I come in there?
Equality between this and that.
Okay.
Can I come in there?
Lagos want to come in, but
Can I come in there? Can I come in there?
Yeah, go.
You see, I want to speak on what the last speaker said. We have to be careful in our assessment, in our judgment of the political situation in Nigeria today. We have to be careful because we must not be pointing fingers. I believe this forum is to educate the people, is to inform the people, is to let them have a balanced view of what's going on. I'm able to say that all the political gladiators are guilty one way or the other. One way or the other, they are guilty. And my take is this: the system is going to cleanse itself. And how will the system cleanse itself? I don't want to sound like a broken record. How many of us are fully engaged during the election? How many of us do participate during the election? At best, what we do as elites, when we grudgingly leave our comfort zone to cast our vote, the next thing we do, we go back.
Yes, that's it.
We go back.
Yes.
You see, there is lack of engagement. There is lack of effective participation. And if you don't have the two, you cannot monitor anything. Let's look at the last election we had in Lagos. That was a pointer to the fact that with time, the electorate, they are going to get smarter. And the system is going to get more and more effective. in tackling all these vices. The last election in Lagos, in my community, I monitor 7 polling units in my community, and I saw the trend. What happened during this last election is unprecedented.
True.
I'm telling you this. I was on the field. To monitor 7 polling units is not a joke.
Yes.
We began to see what's going to happen, the pattern, very early in the morning. There's a church close to my house, I'm not going to mention. They brought these voters in luxury buses in the morning, and they line up. What I saw, I said, yes, we are in for a shock. And we had a shock. I could see people were resolved, mostly women. I'm sorry to say, women, we only talk. Talk. People are actually
Which of the elections?
The presidential election. I'm the last one.
Yes.
So I was actively engaged and involved. When I saw people lining up, I knew we are in for a rude awakening, and we got it. The pattern has never happened in Lagos before. Even a political party that believed this is their stronghold, they lost woefully. Now, why I'm saying that all of them are guilty, the party that won, they said the electorate has spoken loudly and clearly. They applaud the system. Wherein in their own stronghold, it is recorded in a particular region in Nigeria. And that's why we have to be very careful when we are here. We must let people know that we have a balanced view. We are giving a proper, dispassionate analysis.
Agree.
In a particular region, a particular candidate scored 98% in a particular region because it came from that region.
Yes. Let's be clear. Peter Obi got that 98% in the East. Let me see.
I don't want to mention names.
Yes, so, he got it.
So are we saying in the entire region we don't have a hybrid that cut across tribe, religion, and what have you, or interest? That to me is the red flag. That to any right-thinking person will know that a lot of malpractice has gone
also
in that way. Yes. And my brother said they will say go to court. Yes, we go to court because we don't want anarchy. And when they go to court and when they get a judgment, they will applaud. Democracy at work. Yes. Democracy is the last hope of the common man. Yes. The judges, they are doing a human's job. And when they lose, they start blue murder, rigging. hey guys, we need to situate issues properly. Yes. And we need to understand that when we speak, because we have the power to speak, we have the resources to speak like we are using now, we must be seen to come with a dispassionate analysis of events. However, let me just anchor. I'm saying it again. What happened between the polling unit when results are being written, when all the agents have signed, supervisors have signed, INEC have signed, you take a snapshot, you upload. It gets to where it needs to get to. Now, what happened between that place and the collation center? We still need to follow through. Democracy is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And until we understand the game, we will continue to do the same thing every 4 years like a barber's shop, and it gets us to nowhere. That's my submission now.
No, I want to agree with you completely, because look at it. A politician will do everything. It is his job. In fact, if you come to me, I give you an assignment as a politician, your first job is to win. And you want to do that by all means necessary. It is our job to, by all means, stop them from invading the system. There's nowhere in the world where they will not. When Trump lost, he was crying foul that even Donald Trump in the US election, When he now won, he said, "Oh, America has spoken." So they didn't speak the last time. It's not they spoken. That's who politicians are. They are who they are. All right, they will always be who they are. And that Nigeria own is not different. My only concern is this: if we are expecting the politicians to be the one to change the game, then we're deceiving ourselves.
Exactly, absolutely.
They're gonna do what it will suit them. So our own is how do we? Because we seem to be handicapped. I can tap on the elites that they may be able to do the education of the because I think a reasonable Nigerian. Sometimes we look down on our people. You know what I said? I am of the prediction that a young boy of 30 years old will run for presidency without spending a dime. We win the election. Because a pastor will come into the church and preach the good news, and we put that in our pocket. We give him money. That is God. That's until you die. But the God of today is the government. You are talking of God of tomorrow. Let's talk of the God of today. The man that determines what you will drink, the water you are drinking, is there. We are talking of the person that will impact your life now. If the people are aware, they will contribute money to get a good leader. If they can understand what good leadership means, I don't think anybody will be able to change that. The question I'm going to throw to my people is, how do we sensitize this nation on the importance of government? You know, a few days ago, I had a show here, and I was telling me, the people were telling me that they don't believe in government, they believe in God. And I'm confused that without God, without government, there's nothing God will do. I am sorry. God will not jump in. If God wants to save me now, He will give me medicine. I always talk. God wants us to improve on what He has done. Today, I have electricity in this place. There's the light that comes from God is outside. It's not enough for me to work in my room. For me to do this broadcasting, I need extra light.
Yes.
That's what God wants. He wants us to improve on what He has done. He has given us sun, but we have electricity. We need to own it. We need to take responsibilities. The politicians, they're not the one to change this, man. And we seem to lay back. Perhaps we don't even understand the importance of government first. The government is number one in our life. The child you have now, for him to go to a good school, the government is important. Your health system. In the UK, the reason we are here is I know when I'm sick, I'm going to come take me to the clinic and I'm going to be treated. But it's not free though. I don't pay for it now. I pay my taxes. So there's so much to it that they need to. I don't think the leaders are even benefiting. We talked about the other day here, and I say Nigerian government is not collecting enough taxes. How are they going to even run a system without that amount of money? When you think about how much the UK collects from tax, the Nigerian government don't. So the functionality of government, the importance of government is what we need to address first. And perhaps let us look at our system critically and maybe allow Asaba to weigh in on what you think we can do to actually tell Nigerians the importance of government. That's number one. So because when you know something is important to you, you begin to go for it. If the government is different, my life will be different. If the government is good, my life will be good. Because that's what we go to God to do in church. They go to mosque to do that. Maybe they need to bring that to the government, that the government is rightly responsible for my life. Let us work on that first. How do we address that? Because that seems not to be part of our DNA. We don't believe in it. Oh, no, leave them. Don't worry. We are Tinubu is going to win in 2027. So no matter what I do, he has won. And that becomes the decision we take, and it is the wrong one. How do we address that first?
I think it's something that runs from our colonial past, but it's also something that we actually need to see how to address, and the time to address it should be now. I talk about the colonial past because right from the issues of taxation, right from issues of even governance, the idea of governance to the average local, what I mean average Nigerian, is they and us. The government is they and us,
yes.
the people being governed, you understand. So we need to win our mentality, our sensibility of that to the reality on ground that you are or you ought to be an integral part of government.
Thank you.
An integral part of the governance system. So it's about us. So if we fail, we all have failed together. And that the way things are going on now is that as a nation with our human resources, we have a fifth 11, or if not the academy that is representing us in a World Cup, talking about politically speaking. So you have a first 11 that are either in the lecture rooms or in the seminars, or even waiting for members of the 10, 50, 11 to go to the battlefield there, win, and give them appointed position. So we have the elite who should be able to change the trajectory of our political evolution and development, but who, for some reasons, have become detached because of the impression that politics is a dirty game. So at the end of the day, you see people who go out there to play it dirty and come out, and when it now comes to issue of appropriation of the dividends and the appointing position, we now see a situation where there is tokenism. A few of such appointments are given to people just to give credibility to the system. But at the end of the day, we find out that because the drivers, when you are in a vehicle that the driver on his own is drunk, then of course the entire system is endangered. You understand? No matter how safe the passengers are, and they are trying to instruct the driver.
Your seatbelt cannot save you.
Your seatbelt cannot save you. The life jacket or whatever cannot save you at that point in time. And we must begin to take interest in what is the nature of the driver that is going to drive me. The situation where our ethnic considerations and ethnic computation in terms of our leadership evolution hasn't helped us. Shagari was said to be a retired headmaster who had Alex Ekweme, who had all manner of degrees in various fields as his vice. And we see Osinbajo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who was also meant to be subsumed as a vice to who? To somebody that we didn't have, we don't know anything about his certificate. And we know that a vice is like a spare tire. You can't use him until there is a major puncture along the road.
Can I add to that, please?
That's a good one.
Can I add to that, please?
Go on, sir.
Now, the last statement the speaker made about Shagari or Shibanjo and stuff like that. You see, I want to give you a personal experience. I am a consultant in oil and gas, and I served with Nigerian Content Monitoring and Development and Monitoring Board under the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources. So we have working groups, sectoral working groups. I am with oil and I'm with shipping and logistics. I'm into oil and I'm into gas sectoral. So I work with two sectoral working groups. I'll give you a live experience, personal experience, without sounding condescending. Usually we'll have a retreat 3 days, and we are accommodated in an hotel with directors of companies where we have corporate membership that belongs to that sectoral working group. I belong to that sectoral working group. We have assistant directors of private companies. So it's a coalition of is a meeting of private sector practitioners and government agencies employees. But most times it's a private sector thing. We'll do our research, we'll formulate policies, we'll look at upcoming projects. The idea is to how do we increase local content? How do we increase Nigerian participation in oil and gas? Yeah, it's cool to say this year we have $20 billion investment in oil and gas. But the critical question is, how much of it is retained in Nigeria? Do we have 5% retention? The answer is no. So that's the essence of this sectoral working group. And I'll tell you, after spending days, sleepless nights, at the end of it all, when the government officials will come, either the minister or top government officials, the ministry or agency, what we have done for 3 days, toiling. Sometimes we go to bed 3 a.m. We go to bed 3 a.m. We wake up 6 a.m. And I want to tell you this. These are part of the things that drove me into politics. And when they come, we're supposed to do a PowerPoint presentation with what we have done.
Yes.
They will come in their attire. You know the attire now.
Yeah, they're better.
And you know that this guy that is representing either the minister or the top, you can feel his knowledge gap. It's so wide.
Exactly.
It's so frustrating. And they will just with one sentence, they could make a mess of it. And this is supposed to be a policy thing. This is supposed to be an amendment to the act, which we have done. Act that has been there for 30, 40 years. So we want to amend. That's why we are coming. And at the end of the day, you are frustrated because they brought one guy that has nothing to offer. But because of political patronage, because of quota system,
and where he's from, possibly.
Because
the quota system, quota system
that is unending. Even in America, affirmative action, that's a timeline that is unending. So you begin to wonder that what's going on. So it tells you the power of government, the power of life and death. Government is holding, and they will tell you they are civil servants, they are the policy makers. Meanwhile, the real drivers of every sector in the economy, they're the private sector. Now, it takes us to tax. It takes us to how do we pay revenue? How does government get revenue? Everybody's guilty. We are all guilty. You, as a regulator, you're supposed to, every industry has a regulator. I'm a regulator. You're supposed to regulate a particular company under the industry. We are all compromised. We are all compromised. The operator takes care of you, and what are you? And the moment the operator takes care of you, the government is shortchanged. Everything is compromised.
Exactly.
So the government is losing money. And let's even go into tax, because you mentioned tax. How many of us do pay tax? How many of us do pay tax? How many of us do pay what we're supposed to do, even when we see that things are working? I'll give you on the last note. Like I told you, I'm a CDA, I'm a community leader, I'm a CDA chairman in my community. You see, I want to start from bottom, top to bottom. But unfortunately, most of us want to start from up, and we don't know anything. There's a disconnect between what we are doing and the community. When we are collecting levy, CDA levy, what do we use it for? Just to pay the security people. Let me tell you, some people, they only pay 180 naira in a month. 180 naira in a month. And they see that when they go to sleep, security men are there to ensure that at least the place is safe. Let me put the quote and unquote. They see services firsthand. They refuse to pay. So it's a potpourri. Permit me, it's a crazy stuff we have here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The moderator said, how do we let people know? How do we sensitize people to know what they stand to gain when they do their bit? It's a lot of work to do. And the only people that can do the work are people that speak like us, that look like us. I rest my case.
You see, in fact, I am in the presence of greatness today, and I enjoy this. You know, let me take you guys. Communicator said something very important. That this culture is coming from the colonial time. No, when they came, they didn't come to work with us. they are there to take. So there was a big disparity, big gap between them and us.
It's transactional.
That's why they trained so few of us to do their bidding for them. They're there to just take and go. But we can't blame them anymore. If that culture needs to be disconnected, it needs to be abused, it needs to be
Exactly.
So we now need to know that the government is us. And if the government fail, this is the most important thing. We fail.
We have all failed.
You can be as great as you are. Carry a Nigerian green passport. The passport speaks for you, not you.
Yeah.
There was this big Nigerian who was maltreated just because he was carrying Nigerian passport. So no matter who you are, if your country means nothing, you are nothing.
That's true.
And the importance of government cannot be overemphasized here. Like the Honorable started by telling us that even from your birth till the time you die, government will have a say in anything you do.
Credit to grade.
Your health, your education, the food you eat, the water. We came here that they're talking about water. What the government can do, we expect the government to do it. But how are they going to do it if we don't participate in it? And how do you expect somebody who is out to win election to do it right if you don't participate?
Yes.
Because you can't blame the man. The man's job is to win. Tinubu number 1 task is to win 2027, if you like it or not. As a politician, that is what he's supposed to do. It is our job to work with him. Okay, sometimes I like to work with the government, and I don't work with them like a friend. I fight them, but I also want to work with them because if they are growing, I accuse Nigerians of not paying taxes. If you don't pay your tax, where is the government going to get money? Where are they going to get the money? Like he said, the system is working. Let's follow that simple analysis. Do you know that we can actually keep our community safe by just every house is contributing 1,000 naira and employing our own security? The community will be safe.
That's what we do.
The community initiative.
Yes, it will save. I remember we were paying 2 naira a month in my area in Lagos, and everything was okay. I was sleeping well. If anything happened, the security men they say, okay, we have to pay because if your thing is really missing, they will pay you. That's the kind of guarantee they gave to us. Are you saying that now they come to my community, they say, S-Man came to this. What is the community leader? What are they doing?
Yes.
Security. How can you expect it from above if it's not happening below? We start from the community. We need to be part of government. We need to be in government. And that is how we're going to know that, this person has even shown us that he can do this. Let him go and take a higher office. I don't somebody jump in to say, and someone come from abroad. If I come from abroad and I want to run for election, do I even know what is happening? You have to understand what is on ground before you can even open your mouth and say, because your experience there is different from here.
Yeah.
So if you're in Lagos, you can't contest election in my village. You don't know what is there. So please, it is important that we first this connection between us and government. We need to reconnect it back. That's the first task. How do we connect with government? Hold them accountable, but also help them to succeed. Because the man's success is not his success alone. His success is me and you. If he succeeds, my children go to good school. In the UK, I don't bother about school. I know the government is going to take care of that one, so I'm not worried. In Nigeria, you're working about, you're going to pay high school. Not here. In fact, now the government has made it so much. If you want to go to uni, if I want them to have to go to a bigger university, that's when I worry. Even though it's the number one, they just give the student loan. They go answer, they go to uni, and they come back. The child is completely not your problem. Because the system is working. You don't need to call on God, my people. Last time I said, leave God alone. Because the God has, no, I don't understand. God said to Adam, now take control of this earth. He's not coming down to take control again. He has given the power to government. Government is in control. Let us work with the government. Let us hold the government. Let us also support them. Because if the government, I did say it again and again, if they fail, that's where we are now. We can blame them as much as we want. Like Lagos asks us now, how many of us are actually participating? How many of us are connected? I know last time we said we are more connected with church, we are more connected with the mosque than with the government of the day. That is a big danger. Let's go on a quick break. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a little bit of the newspaper review and we'll call this show a wrap today. Let's go on a quick break. Don't go away.
Nigeria Week London 2025. It's time to celebrate the pulse of Africa's most exciting nation. Nigeria Week London 2025 is coming to Hippodrome Theatre from July 24th to 26, 2025, showcasing the best in Nigerian arts, music, fashion, and investment opportunities. Whether you're looking to discover the future of real estate, explore Nigeria's culinary masterpieces, or get immersed in an electric Afrobeat performance, this is the event of the year. You can also join us for a film festival, cultural dance spectacles, and the recognition awards. Don't miss out on the business opportunities and cultural experiences waiting for you. Book your tickets now before they're gone on eventbrite.co.uk. Call or text +447 438 893 190 or 080 330 46768 or +447 459 071 747. Visit our website superiorradioandtelevision.com. Nigeria Week London 2025. Nigeria Week London 2025, celebrating the best of Nigeria, is partnered with Civil Society, scaling up nutrition in Nigeria.
Yes, a very big welcome to you all. I am here in the presence of greatness. I have my studio at Lagos. I wish I have somebody with me here. Now I'm jealous, guys. I wish I have somebody here who can throw it, because you guys are equipped. I am not, Now I'm struggling to cope. No, but the truth is, we are about to achieve something great. A problem have identified is solved. That's what we say. When you can identify a problem, the problem is already solved. Our problem is the connection between us and the government. And like I said, the amount of love we show in our religious worship, if we can apply even 10% to government, I think we'll be where we want to be. And when we say government now, it's about society as well. When we talk, what is government? It is society. Some governance is actually at a local level, just even community, just only the chief. The chief can be a very important part of government. For instance, security, like you rightly mentioned. I don't understand why Nigerians can say, I can't sleep. If 3-4 people, if all of you come together and donate one naira, you have this. Now, I talk about electricity, for instance. Do you know that we could solve our electrical problem if the money Nigerians are spending on diesel in night, if they put the money together, they will have solar panel that will serve their community. But I'm solving my own, you're solving your own. But individually, we failed. I always say to people, you may not like government. You might be able to buy a good car. Can you construct the roads?
Yeah. Can you?
I have money to treat myself. If the hospital is not good, we are flying out.
You find house, how do you get into the house?
Yes, no road. And now he said you have money to build a big house, no water. The water you're going to drink, that borehole, it's not as good as see, we are not. We're changing ourselves. There are things God wants us to do, God together. That's why we have a society. And we need to bring that one into our life. And that's why I always say, maybe our government needs to become pastors to preach the good news. A government that cannot preach the good news is already a failure. For the government. There should be pastors. They come on stage and talk to the people. Listen, I will talk to you in the language you understand. Listen, this
engagement with the people.
Yes, communication. Look at the way the communicator, you understand? Say, if Tinubu will tell us, say, listen, in the next 6 months there will be hardship, but you know what I'm going to do? This is what we're going to do, so there will be food, and this is what the sacrifice we all have to make. We want you to tell us, show us leadership. See, there's something I see in the Bible. When they say Moses take the children of Israel from that place, he wasn't the one that physically carried them. He only showed them the leadership. We're not expecting our leaders to carry us or give us money. We don't need your money. Just show us. Tell us this is where you're going with us. And that is where our leaders are failing us. But now, we're going to put them on track. It does not make sense that we have intellectuals like you and we are where we are. Now, let us throw the blame back to the elites. Exactly. I always say to people, for a society to fail, the elites are to fail. Yes. In the UK, it was the elite that introduced the social package. If you're not working, they give you money to eat. Because they know their security is at stake if poor people are on the street. They address that issue, not government too. So, Nigerian elite, where are you? And I'm still going to throw it back to Asaba and then to my Lagos. How do we make the elite stand up to their responsibility? Because they are not. And actually, they are not even comfortable. No matter how much you have, you're not sure whether your children can walk on the street. You can't even walk on the street because they will take you. As I see today, they are looking for you. If they get your wife, they will carry your children. Not ransom. So it is a worrisome development, but it's because not government, it's because you and I didn't engage the government. Can we conclude that today? That is because we refuse to engage the government. We go to back.
Okay. That reminds one of I think it was the Post. The Post. That's a newspaper that Nnamdi Azikiwe tried to publish sometime in the 1945 thereabout. And it had a motto: show the light, and the people will find the way. So, to engage with the people because they are the primary beneficiaries of the present miasma that we are in. Then, of course, the elite are hungry for a change so that they have something to hand over to the next generation, should be able to correlate, should be able to come together, and should be able to engage the people. Yes, citizenship engagement in a challenging economy can be expensive because it is beyond communication. You talked about Moses and showing the people the way, showing leadership. It is far more challenging than what we have now. Because no matter the promise, no matter the credibility in your speech, no matter the transparency you try to show, when you finish engaging with a citizen now who has not eaten for the past 24 hours, you need to back it up with a loaf of bread. Thank God we have the baker on the platform, and you should be able to tell us what a loaf of bread costs now. Because a loaf of bread. How many families can have a loaf of bread on the table? So preaching and convincing and having a hungry bunch of citizens to follow you requires that you should also, at the end of the flowery presentation you are making, be able to put your hand in your pocket and say, you should be able to take care of this for you, your family today and tomorrow. And the question is, how many of the elites that are challenged to take care of their children in private universities, studying certain courses? How many of the elites should be able to haven't been able to take care of this, haven't been able to take care of themselves, haven't been able to take care of their community relations, should be able to now vote this without any outsider sponsorship into engaging with the people? Because engagement is beyond just sensitization. For you to make sense and get a result now, you should have backing, you should have funding. And that is where the strong men who have cornered what belongs of the Commonwealth have the advantage, because sometimes they don't even need to preach to you. They don't even need to teach it's just that they know you have needs. And so, can I have your account details? And before, and as soon as you are transferring that, you are having an alert. Fall in place. And to you, the immediate thinking is that this has solved this kind of problem. And so we have a system that is highly materialistic, highly monetized. The electoral process is highly monetized. And so those who can fund it have advantage over those who come with credibility, background. They know what I did. They know where I have worked. And they know that I have a credibility, that I have not stolen anything. And they know that I have the capacity to impact and take them from where they are to where should be better. But when that sermon is not backed up with their solving of their immediate need now, there is a
when there's no manna from heaven,
you can go. And so, thank you.
Thank you.
Jesus, at the point in time when Jesus was preaching, people were saying, we need food. He had to bring manna small before, to dive the tension before the preaching can continue. They have to eat bread and fish first before Jesus can continue.
Let me
infrastructure. Infrastructure. A flawless sermon has no meaning.
Let me dive into that, please. Thank you, my able colleague. I appreciate your delivery. But however, well, we are not in the world. We are not here to solve world hunger.
Yes.
Human needs are many. I'm still bringing us back to the community. Let me tell you, let's be frank with ourselves. Most of us elites, when we are given higher positions, we cannot even perform. You know why? Because they cannot even trust us with little things. What are these little things? Starting from the base. We feel too big, we feel too pompous. In my community, people who come to me, they will say T-Bakes. That's what they call me. That's my brand name. They'll say T-Bakes. Why are you bothering yourself about this? You are too big for that. I said, no. This is about service. Nobody is too big for service. You just have to serve. You just want to serve. And that's only one reason, because you want to serve. Now, bringing back to the community we are talking about, the elites, we live in silos. And to solve this immediate problem within our environment, we have not been able to pull resources together. The last speaker said, when you have to pay for children's school fees in private universities, yes, I understand. That could be very demanding. But one thing I believe, and I still believe, yes, we can take care of our children, we can give them the best of everything, but if we fail to take care of the children in our community, right now, it's going to haunt us later. Yes. It's going to be danger to our very children, God forbid, that
That's
we
what Oluwo said.
that we protect.
Oluwo said it right.
My personal experience in my community, what I do in my own little way, give them borehole water, try to make sure lights are on the streets. You know what it gives me? It gives me a sense of security. I'm like a demigod, permit me to use that word, in the community. Yes. Because they've seen me to come time and time again and do stuff for them. And for the little things that we think is so little, to them it goes a long way. In my community, a water vendor will sell water at 2,500 per truck. How many parents with 5 children, 6 children can afford to buy a truck of water at 2,500? And I say, hey, you don't need to regulate the price. You don't need to do that. Water has become a commodity. How do we deal with profiteering? How do we deal with stuff like this? Let us have borehole at reasonable distance within the community. Nobody needs to tell the water vendor to close business.
Exactly.
You see, we need to come together as elites.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, we control the narratives. We have the resources. We have not been able to do that. We take it like a spade, a shovel. We shove the sand, we throw it up. We think we throw it up to government, but it's still coming down to us. You see, we had a challenge in my community. It was an electricity issue for a whole 4 weeks, a month. There was no light, and people were behaving as if they can't be bothered. And I said, hey, I just pulled about 3 guys together. I said, let's do something. I did a kind of a data within the community. We have estates. We have some middle income, a lot of middle income earners, some high net worth. I reach out to them with the help of others. We went to service provider. We went to the office in Marina, and we asked them, why can't we have light for a whole month? We engage them. What I'm saying here is about engagement. And you know what will shock you? We had a meeting on a Saturday. We said we'll be going on a Monday. I put a call through to almost everybody. I mean, the leaders, the people that were agitated. Out of 10, elites. Some didn't pick my call. Some say, oh, I have to take my child to hospital. Oh, somebody's. So at the end of the day, out of 10, only 2 followed me. You know the people that followed me? The people that we look down on, the illiterates.
Exactly.
They followed me. They came. We came with our placards. They wrote it. They brought placards. They brought marker. They brought public address system at no cost, volunteering. People that speak like me, nowhere to be found. We went to the head office. We met the management, and while we were there, we were recording it. We were sending it to the platform. We went back. My people, we went back, and as God will have it, few hours, the light was on. Few hours, the light was on. Then the elites came back to me, Mr. Thomas, well done. That's a job. I just laugh. I laugh because I'm used to it. I'm used to all our tactics, all our shenanigans, grandstanding. The problem in Nigeria today rests squarely on the elites because we have not been able to bring out the sparks. You're talking about publication of Nnamdi Azikiwe. We have not been able to bring out the sparks, and it's a combination of these sparks that will bring the glow, show the direction. We have failed to do that. As long as we live in silos, as long as we feel we are too big, we can't do stuff. And when you have a cousin, a brother that's a politician, you are not supporting him, and these people, the literates, are with him, they were supporting him. And when you get to power, when you get to that place, you want to come, he's my cousin, my brother. It doesn't work like that. The politicians, they will pay back to people that actually work for them. I'm telling you the truth. I'm speaking from a political point of view, as a politician, as a community leader. I've dealt with people, different status, different levels, and I know, my guys, we are very selfish, we are very greedy, and we don't care. The elites, we are the problem of this nation. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I want to zero this. We are coming to the end of this discussion, but let us look at it. And perhaps I still want to go back to the communication. A religion without sacrifice is what? Nigerians, we don't want to sacrifice, especially the elites. Or we want to cut the corners. Jesus Christ have to die for us to have salvation. All of you go to church on Sunday. Now go on Sunday again. The man have to die. That's why you say in the name of Jesus. He died. It wasn't free. Salvation is not free for you because he died. For those of us that believe. Now, I am saying, if I don't have money to give to you, I will only let you know the gain you will stand to gain if we all do this. Now, I may be able to do and achieve borehole in my home at a more expensive cost than if we all bring it together and have a tap running through the system. It's a hard message to preach, but when you can preach that, you will be reminding them that now let's make the sacrifice now. It's not going to be easy. That's where leadership is, and it's not only really at the government level. You know, the last time I came here, I said we don't have opposition in Nigeria because the opposition should be showing us now if I were to be, I'm going to use names here now. If I were to be Peter Obi, I will not wait until the next election before I work. I will be voting now. I'll be working now. What I'll do, Nigeria, you don't have airline. I'm going to put people together. Look at what our community leader here, I want to call him a community hero. What did he just analyze? If he put things together, you'll be surprised he will be able to give us an airline. The money will come from us. The money don't need to come from Peter. Only today, Nigeria, let's have an airline. This is a shame. Anybody that wants to work with me, donate your money. Simple. Nigeria will have an airline. But you want to wait until you get to power before you make a change. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the biggest challenges we have, the elites. I want to be, so if I'm not the president, I cannot do anything. No, anything we do. And I'm happy Nigerians so go to church every day. So it's a very good point of contact for me. When I say the church you're going, somebody sacrificed for it. For us to have good roads, we all have to suffer first, so the road will come. What does it cost us to get electricity? Look at what he just analyzed. Maybe the thing they are going through, the challenges they are having, is not something government will do. Maybe we can even gather that money and give to them, and we have constant light. We can't save it. But we're waiting for the government, who is only thinking of how, they have their own flaws as well. You understand? You know what I think is, I witnessed something in Lagos State University. When I first met, I have a house around that area, so I used to go there, I work with them. When I travel, when I came back, most of them now have a car. And I said, how did people get a car? All lecturers now having a car. It was the power of cooperative. Within the university, they donate money, they go there to buy their own drinks. All the drinks they take home, they don't buy on the street. They're able to buy in stock, and from there they buy at a good price. They gather money, they're now able to rent good flats. They're now having cars. Power of cooperative. Individually, they were suffering. Any society where people cooperate, that's government. And if we can bring that into our community with the elites spearheading this, we'll get somewhere. Poverty is cheap. I may be able to go to farm alone, and I'll be able to farm. But if we all farm, we'll be able to rent a tractor that will clear our farms in a day. I don't need to suffer. The money to clear the farm, the one I will give to men to clear my farm that will not do well, we rent a tractor that will, if all of us, 10 of us come together, we'll clear the whole village. A tractor will do it. And then we're coming, individual skills begin to come in, individual contribution, contact begin to help. And our elites, and so important today that we really hammer on the elites in terms of our governance. They can make so much difference. Don't forget, it's not as if the money is not with us. That's the thing I was saying. We have the resources to make Nigeria great. Yes. What is really missing is the coordination. You know, in my presentation, I always say, they said Nigeria have the natural resources, we have human resources. So what is needed is leadership to coordinate them, to give us the result. Now, the leadership does not come from government. The politicians will be politicians. They want to win the election. You cannot blame them. If they don't win, what is their job? For me to be president, I have to win first. Yes. And if we start from what our honorable taught us today, being community heroes or community leaders or community work, that's where Obama started. Obama was a community worker.
Yes, yes.
He started as a community worker, and that the people could tell. You see, good will always win over evil. You might not like it, it may take some time, but good will defeat evil. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. you will get a result, and your result will be everlasting. The one you church, this one now, they go. So I want to thank everybody today. I want to say our community leader. I didn't take your name because it is so fast. We didn't prepare for the show on time, but I'm really blessed to have you on the platform today, and I know we're going to have more of you.
Same here too, sir.
Added a lot to
Same here.
thinking of Nigerians, and especially our elites. You know, you've taught us that this evil that is existing in our midst is because we, elites, are doing that. And we think we're doing a lot. I always say to people in the UK, oh, you want to empower your family, you send money to them. That's not empowerment. But when you engage them properly, yeah, into productivity, you'll be resting. You must participate. Because for us here, this is not still our home. For this generation, maybe our children want to find here their home. But our generation see Nigeria as our home. So our home is still home. We work every day for home. But sometimes we do it wrongly. We don't really participate. We don't help the government to succeed. And how the government succeed, we don't help communities to succeed. Even though if you say you so hate the government, now help your community to succeed. Do you still hate your community? Oh, Tinubu is not good in the money. It's your community is still not good. At least there must be somebody who is good that you can trust. You may trust your king, or you may trust your local, anybody you trust, work with them. You will be surprised the impact you will make. And every little one will add a drop to the question. You know, what I said yesterday is as we go into this economy emancipation of the Nigerian state, if every state, every local government begin to make money, and every community begin to make money, now so assume that, oh, we here say this my village is generate electricity, solar, which is free. Now solar panel is everywhere. I am still wondering why local government are not even taking on the solar panel, building it like a village. I was in I come down, my plane come down in Antigua and Barbuda, and as we were driving, there was this solar village. That's what they were used to pan. That's what they used to pan to power the whole airport.
Sir Chris,
yes.
The government is proposing, or it's been proposed, that the importation of solar panels be banned, so that Nigeria can produce, you know, it will give room for locally produced solar panels. What do you think about this?
No, that's a good one. But then again, it's not. I don't believe in importation. But if we have to steal the technology right first, if we have the technology, I'm angry when you give contract to Julius Berger. Our engineers, they've been to school. They are no more. We don't have cheap engineers anymore. We're graduating engineers. Give them the room to construct our roads. When do we need Julius Berger to come and construct roads in Nigeria? Will they go construct roads for Germany?
Do Nigerians go to construct roads in Germany? That's a good question, Sir Chris.
So we should construct our roads. Our engineers should learn. In fact, if your child didn't do it well, teach the child to do better. We can't keep putting money on Julius Berger like what Oboriwo is doing in Delta State. He said Julius Berger. So you show Julius Berger. That's a red flag for me. Let our local engineers do this job. That's why we send them to school. If the school system is not working, make it better. So by the next 4 years, our engineers will be good enough to construct roads. If you are telling me they are not, but I think so, because what they study in UK is what they study there. I did law here in the UK. You study harder when you do law in Nigeria than here. You suffer more as a law student in Nigeria when you go through it here. So, and yet you say the Nigerian education system is a flop. I don't understand this. Somebody that went to Harvard to do 2 weeks course, he said he's an alumni of Harvard. For 2 weeks. So it's better than the Nigerian graduate. We need that one, colonization. We're going to come to that another day.
He just wants to put in something briefly.
Okay, good.
You spoke on something that actually caught my fancy. Educational system. I used to tell my children, they are all abroad, 2 in Canada, 1 in Dublin. And you see, they were doing courses that are far apart. One was into sciences. She's now a PR holder in Canada. The other one is into political science and history. And I challenge them. I take them on. I said, bring your course note.
Yes.
Even though I have a science background, I said, bring your course note. That one, when she brings it, I will do it. Okay, Daddy, because you have a science background. The one in political science, I'll say, oh yeah, bring your course note. And I'll take her to school. They say, wow, say, Daddy, but why do you know this stuff? How? And I told them, I said, I am taught one thing. One of the things I was taught when I was young, and I held it on. They said, a man that does not read has no advantage over a man that cannot read. My
Yes,
passion
of course.
is read.
If you don't read, you're equal.
If you talk about international politics affairs, I developed this passion when I was in primary, going to secondary school. And I said, can you tell me about the Bay of Peace, Cuban Missile Crisis? Said that. Just what are you saying here?
Yes.
Our educational system then. I tell them, I said, yeah, you are there now, but I'm not sure the quality of education you are having there now is better than what I had when I was in school.
They cannot.
And it has been proven several times. But sadly, the educational system is so dysfunctional now that we need a surgical operation. And the same in every sector
of the Nigeria.
We need a surgical operation to put things right. Like you said earlier, an average student in Nigeria, take him or her abroad, he will perform wonders. Like my daughter used to say, Daddy, I trounce them. These white, they don't know anything.
Yes.
And I give it to some of us, and we just need to do something. That should be an emergency in the educational system, because it's education that fits other sector.
Exactly.
If you get it wrong in education, you can become fixed. And the education I'm talking about now, it has to be functional education, not this conventional one. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about coding.
Yes.
We are talking about robotics. We are talking about data sciences. That is where the world is going now. And it doesn't surprise us. Years back, when you see the top companies in the world, you talk about ExxonMobil, you talk about Shell, you talk about Chevron, Texaco. Then, about 2 decades back, look at the companies that are $1 trillion worth in their assets now. They are companies that are into high tech. And I think that is the direction we need to go. We need to teach our students skill acquisition, relevant skill acquisition. And I think they'll be able to compete very well in the global stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As well, that's a place to wrap the show. A very good place to wrap the show today. And I personally have learned a lot, and I know a lot has been passed on to our audience.
Same here too. I've learned a lot too.
I've learned a lot too. Functional education.
Yes. It is important. When we look at the Nigerian education system, maybe when we finish, we'll be surprised at how good we are and how underrated we are. And maybe that superiority complex or inferiority complex need to die away so that we now know, oh, no, we can't be this. First, a child growing up and you keep telling the child you are nothing, it becomes nothing. Maybe there's a place to say, okay, so this is okay, and this is where you need to be. Our education system can be great. In fact, we should be exporting education. I always say to people, go to Nigeria now. If you get to Lagos or Abuja, every university in the UK have more than 2 offices where they are recruiting Nigerian students. It's their business. They're looking for money. Nigeria is not tapping into that. You understand? Our children are abroad studying. And that, in fact, the question is, even the curriculum there, how are you sure it is exactly what we need in Nigeria today? No. You cannot use a British curriculum for they don't. In fact, when we study law here, they study the law as it is important to the UK. Brexit is what we do. You don't go and study EU law in current Britain. What is wrong?
Not even EU. Not
Eh?
even in Ireland.
Go to EU to study. Here is about Brexit now. So
Everything is local.
your course must be relevant to the society.
That's
And that's
when it
what
comes
we need to
to
do as a people. We're going to look into the future of education another day. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining me. And please
It's a
keep
pleasure
up the
here.
community work. Keep
Thank
up
you
the
for having
community work. When I see people like you, I know Nigeria is going to be great. And I'm so
Thank you
happy.
for having me.
that Nigeria
I
has
appreciate it.
this. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right,
You're
that's how
welcome.
we end the show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Enjoy the rest of the day, sir.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Okay. For some reason, I don't know. It's the
Nigeria Week London 2025.
Let's see.
SR TV. Innovative content.